Well, hello, Convention of States supporters, and welcome back to another episode of COS Live. My name is Andrew Woodruff. I will be your host for this episode, and as you might have noticed, the wonderful, lovely, and the great Rita Peters is not able to join us. She is my co-host, but she's also the Senior Vice President of Legislative Affairs, and she is tending to pressing legislative matters, but she will be back next week. We have a great program lined up for you. Before we get to that, though, comment below. Let us know what state you are tuning in from. We would love to hear from you. And of course, while you're at it, give us a like, a rumble, a retweet, or a share. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. It's really important that you do this because it helps us grow the show, and it helps get the message out about Convention of States and how we are the solution as big as the problem. We are the solution that is going to cure the DC mess that career politicians have created for us. Again, it's an Article 5 Convention of States. So are you tired of winning yet? I know that I am not tired of it, and I'm sure many of you are just getting going with the winning. Well, Friday marked an unprecedented victory for Convention of States. We got a double chamber victory in West Virginia. We passed the House and the Senate in the same day, and it was within 45 minutes of each other. That is absolutely amazing. Again, it is unprecedented for Convention of States. With West Virginia passing, though, that means that we are past the halfway mark. We are at 18 states. That means we got 16 states left to go until we can start reigning in federal tyranny by calling the first ever Article 5 Convention of States. Today, we're going to be joined by two outstanding patriots from the West Virginia team. We have Tracy Friend, who is the state director, and then we also have Jay Taylor, who's the legislative liaison for West Virginia. Both of them are going to be joining us momentarily. Before we get to that, of course, though, we do have our Article 5 trivia giveaway question with COS Vice President Mike Ruthenberg. Mike, over to you.
It is absolutely a celebration week in a celebration year, in a celebration month. It's so exciting to be here. Thanks so much. And boy, what a great show it's going to be, because we're going to hear the story about West Virginia. Congratulations to the West Virginia team. The folks have been pushing so hard. I've known Jay Taylor, gosh, for pretty close to a decade. I think it's 9 years. He has been pushing and pushing and pushing to make it happen. He's been the state director there. He deserves a big shout out for being the leader. Of course, all the grassroots that made things happen there. Of course, I'm gushing a little bit right now because I can't believe how amazing it was. When you hear the story, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but when you hear the story, your eyes will get real wide and you'll realize just what incredible perseverance there's been, what incredible hard work, and people keeping their emotions in check and doing the right thing, which is not an easy thing to do. It all came together in West Virginia in this mighty month of March. And that's going to be the subject of our trivia question. But first, let me promote our most popular t-shirt right here. This is called the Rally Tee. We see people in the legislatures all over the nation wearing this t-shirt in there. It used to be, and it actually still is, the COS buttons that look something like this. This is actually our little COS doily for keeping the wood clean when you put your drink down. But that's what the buttons look like. The COS t-shirt is great. I'm going to give one of these away in whatever size you want to the winner of our trivia question. They'll deserve this, and chances are they might even have one, because to know the answer to this question, you really have to be paying attention, because not only do we talk about history and how Article 5 has evolved over the years, but now we've been around long enough. We have so much history, a lot of it good, I'm happy to say, that we can use COS trivia, COS history for trivia today. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And here's our big question of the day. And this week, I said it's a magic March. We have done a lot. We've seen a lot, mostly because of the way the legislative calendars lay out. Most of them, many of them start in January, and by about April, Some into May, they start winding up their legislative sessions. Some go year round. Of course, California does, because they can't wait to think of new ways to restrict us with these laws that they want to have. But a lot of our legislative activity happens right now, and March is such a great month. So it's a big anniversary for COS. We've been at it so long, not counting West Virginia, which of course passed in March. We have 3 states celebrating the anniversary of their passage of the COS resolution. March 5th, March 6th, and March 12th are all anniversary days. What was the first state of 2014, the first state of 2017, the second state of 2019 to pass the Convention of States, all in March? And they're the first state overall, the 9th state overall, and the 14th state overall. Can you believe we're at 18? It's so fun to say. So stay tuned after this incredible show. I'll give you the answer, and hopefully you won the rally tee. And if you didn't get one, just go to Shop Convention of States and make things happen on your own. You can buy a shirt, you can get a mug, you can do whatever you like. But for now, let's get this show on the road. See you later.
We have 2 outstanding Patriots with the West Virginia team. We have Jay Taylor, who is the legislative liaison, and we also have Tracy Friend, who is the state director for West Virginia. It's a pleasure to have both of you. West Virginia on Friday passed the COS resolution, becoming the 18th state to join the sister states for calling a convention. And the victory was overwhelming in the House. It was 77-19, and it got passed over the Senate, where it was passed by a voice vote. So before we get into the interview, let's recap some of those moments where we achieved that victory.
We do love the Constitution, those of us who are supporting this resolution. What we don't love is Roe v. Wade, Wickard v. Filburn, and many other decisions that have abused the Constitution. This is our way to stand up to the Washington politicians and judges. I urge adoption of the resolution.
The question before the House is, shall the resolution be adopted? Those in favor of adoption of the resolution will say aye. Aye. Roll call vote is demanded. Is the demand sustained? Demand is sustained. The question is, shall the resolution be adopted? Those in favor of adoption of the resolution will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will close the machine, ascertain the result on this question. There are 77 ayes, 19 nays, and 4 members absent. A majority of members voting in the affirmative. The chair declares that resolution adopted. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Is there further unfinished business?
The question is on adoption of the resolution. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. I declare the resolution adopted.
West Virginia passed the Convention of States resolution last week, becoming number 18. That video was excellent. Congratulations to both of you. My first question is, how did it feel for both of you as that final vote came in? Tracy, I'll go to you first.
Really, it happened so quickly that it's taken me days to try to absorb what just happened. My work has completely, I wouldn't say completely, but my focus has changed. I didn't go to the Capitol that morning expecting to walk out as the 18th state. So it was a little overwhelming. Yeah, it was just more than I was expecting. So it took me days to be able to grasp what just happened.
Jay, how about for you? 9 years with Convention of States. How did it feel?
Well, surreal. It was just, it was amazing. I'm still kind of like, okay, wait, we're past, because it was supposed to be this week. I mean, I'm a bit of a political junkie, and as you can see, I still got the Senate floor session up there in the background. And then just, the overwhelming number of votes we got. I mean, I've been telling people, we'll be well in the 60s. I said, I was hoping for 70, and to come out and we had 77 there on the House floor was just phenomenal. And there was 4 that were absent, and all 4 of those, I believe there was some COVID things that were going on there, but all 4 of those were supporters. And so we would have been at 81 here in West Virginia. And we had 3 Democrats that, were surprises to me. I was really grateful to that. And, it was just amazing. And then I knew that the Senate intended to take it up right away. Even a really fun note on that one, and I didn't know about this until it happened, was that the Senate president himself, Craig Blair, he came over to the House floor, got the resolution from the House clerk himself personally, and walked that back over to the Senate so they could take it up immediately. I mean, that's unheard of. I mean, that just doesn't happen. So that just showed how much he supported the Convention of States, and how, you know, they passed it four other years here in West Virginia in the Senate. And so he didn't want to take any chances. He wanted to get that thing and get it done now. So it wasn't even like an hour after the House passed it, the Senate took it up and passed it. So that was amazing. And so we were very appreciative of all the efforts there, and, you know, both in the House and Senate. So overwhelming support here in West Virginia.
Yeah, and it was just, if you'd been tuning in for the first time to West Virginia, watching this unfold, getting passed in the House with that overwhelming margin, and then just getting sent over to the Senate within, you know, 45 minutes, however much it was,
Yeah.
you would think, oh, wow, I mean, there must be just such broad support in West Virginia. They made it look easy peasy, like it was a breeze. But the reality is it's been very close in West Virginia for a long time, but we've just never been able to get it across the finish line. And there's been a few times where we just thought we had the votes, we thought we had it, and it just didn't pass. But you, Tracy, the entire team, many of the legislators in West Virginia, you never gave up. You kept coming back, showing up year after year until the job got finished. And it's really just an inspiration for me and so many others to see that you finally have gotten it done. One thing I want to ask you about, though, Jay, is you've spent so much time in the West Virginia legislature, probably more than anyone on the West Virginia team, maybe even across the nation when it comes to spending time in legislatures. So who do you credit for passing in the legislature? Which legislators are champions who helped us get it across the finish line?
For this year, or for the whole
For
time
this year.
over? For this year, definitely in the House, our lead sponsor, Riley Keaton, was just instrumental for helping to make sure everything was going there. Chris Pritt there, he in the Judiciary Committee was just a real staunch, and he gave a wonderful floor speech with the support, and in the Judiciary Committee was like really helping out there. We were able to get a lot of the Judiciary Committee members to you know, to keep on requesting that we get put on the agenda. And I know a lot of them were really helping out there, making sure that we got that through. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that our Speaker of the House, Roger Hanshaw, you know, he had been against us a number, you know, year before, and we were able to, you know, kind of get with him and answer his concerns and make sure everything was good. And he told me last fall when we were down there for interims, he said, Jay, after 3 months of the Biden administration, I'm ready to sign on as a prime sponsor of your resolution. So that was such a shock and such a welcome thing. So for Roger he did sign on as a co-sponsor. So to have the Speaker of the House as a co-sponsor, just, you know, I'd be remiss not to mention that. So big thank you to him, and that definitely helped push us through there. So on the Senate side, you know, the President Craig Blair, just everything he did there. You know, we got here Senator Robert Carnes. He'd always been our lead sponsor over there and spoke on it when it was on the Senate floor there. Mike Azinger, he's always been, you know, champion there. And just even past guys that have gone on to other things. Kent Leonhardt, who's our ag commissioner now, he's always, you know, called back on our senators and delegates that he knew and encouraged them to support us. So it's been just an incredible ride, and just, you know, so many people have been so supportive just to make sure everyone's questions are answered, and just trying to make sure we got this whole team approach going.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've certainly collected a lot of skill, spending so much time in the West Virginia legislature. That much is apparent. And I do hear that you are also contemplating a run for the West Virginia Senate. Is that true?
Yeah. My state senator is actually retiring now this year in the 14th district here in West Virginia. Mm-hmm. And so when he said he wasn't going to run, I, you know, checked with my delegate to see if she was going to run over there. And when she said she's got a good position in the House, I said, well, okay, you know, and worked with all these legislators, both in the House and the Senate, and know so many of them, and have worked well with them, not only on Convention of States, but other bills and resolutions and just legislation there, that I thought, it's time for me to get in the game too. So I'm all in, I'm running, and very excited, and got a lot of support, and I'm anxious. And there'll be other things coming up with with Convention of States. That we'll definitely have other Article 5 things coming through, the making sure we the rules that are coming through. So there'll be things for Convention of States to do, even here in West Virginia, and on down. So
well, we're certainly happy to have patriots in the fight for liberty, and best of luck to your endeavors there in trying to secure a Senate seat. I want to switch gears though to talk about just like division within the country, because if you turn on the media, you would assume that there is just deep division within the American body politic. It seems like we can't agree on anything. At least that's what the media tells us. But I think some of it, actually, there is some truth to it, that we're just very divided as a country right now. But besides or despite all of that division, Americans seem to agree that the federal government has gone beyond its scope and its jurisdiction, and they support calling an Article 5 convention to rein in the federal government. Tracy, we have some polling that shows that 2/3 of voters, from both sides of the spectrum, on the right and on the left, they agree that our resolution can solve a lot of these problems, a lot of the government overreach that we're seeing. Why do you think that is?
I think the state of our nation, just as you said, is divided, but there has been so decisive. The federal government specifically has been purposefully so divisive that the truth of the Article 5, when people get any kind of amount of knowledge of it, that it doesn't matter where you're standing, which side you're on, you do recognize this as the solution that was provided by those who created the Constitution. It's all written in there. It's all included. So if you have any kind of concept of saving our country or recognizing that it's going in the completely wrong direction, then it would be the truth of the convention would be an obvious choice and a solution to the problems we're having. So I can understand why both sides, but you can be on one side and are for Marxism and the division. But if you're not, if you're just leaning, in one direction, but do understand that our country is falling, then this is an obvious solution.
And so right now, with West Virginia coming on as the 18th state, we're now over halfway, which is just outstanding, considering that before the at the end of last year, we were not even at the halfway mark. Now, just a few months into the new year, we are past the halfway mark. We have 16 states left until we get to that 34 threshold that would trigger a convention of states. And for both of you, what do you hope will come out of a convention, and how can a convention benefit not only the nation, but how can it benefit West Virginia in particular? Tracy, right back to you first.
Sure. Well, you know what? I stated in an earlier interview with COS Live, just the uniting. I mean, because it's going to bring every state, the people of every state together, just to be, observing what's being, handled in the convention. So, sticking strictly to the three, issues that we have, we're allowed to speak at hand. I couldn't say how long it would take for our delegates, for those to decide, to come up with any amendments on that. But we all have a stake in it, and every state will be affected, could be affected hugely by all three of those in ways I don't think we could even comprehend. It would take some, some thought and discussion to understand how drastically our country could benefit by those three issues that we're addressing. So as far as West Virginia directly, it would be good for our people of our states if some of the, we have some of our citizens are giving up 40% of their paycheck. If some of that stopped and they got to keep it themselves to support, those around them, their own communities, get to circulate that in our own state, our own area, would benefit us all. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I absolutely see where you're coming from, where this impacts every single citizen, and how, holding on to more of your money or less regulations or a federal government that's not as overbearing and encroaching is going to certainly benefit the citizens of West Virginia. Absolutely see that. Jay, same question to you. How do you think West Virginians will benefit from any amendments that come out of a convention? How do you think it's going to benefit the nation as well?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to, the balanced budget amendment and term limits and, getting the, draining the swamp in DC and getting that red tape out of the way so that everything can thrive. I mean, we're seeing that right now with our, gasoline prices going through the roof. And, when we've got all, especially here in West Virginia, we've got so much coal and natural gas. I mean, we could be shipping that out all over the place, but, the regulations and the EPA just nonsense is just, out of control. And, we can be energy independent here in not only West Virginia, but America. And, we need to get government out of the way and not for it to be a hindrance to our prosperity. So I'm really looking forward to just reining in the federal government and keeping them doing what they should be doing instead of trying to do everything for everybody. So.
That's great. Tracy, I want to ask you, because you were directly connected to the volunteers in West Virginia. You helped organize the team, you helped rally the team. And again, like I said earlier, there was defeats that West Virginia had encountered, didn't get the resolution passed until this year. What was it like, though, being connected to the team, and what can you say about the West Virginia volunteers in general?
Just that they've not given up. There's been a core team that has stuck together no matter what. And even though they face frustrations, just like the other states have, we all come up against stuff and face it, get frustrated, but still work it out face to face. That we have purpose and that we can't lose our heads over, issues. We have to work it all through, pray it all out, and keep walking in the same direction. And I did get a hold of them at one point and say, guys, we have got to keep ourselves together, because, they work so hard. They put their hearts into this. So sometimes, it can get to be a lot. And I recognize it in the other states as well, that just come up against come up against walls, and it's hard. It's frustrating, but we don't lose heart because our calling is right. The purpose is right. So I thank the volunteers who stuck it out, who stayed in the job. Now, again, because we weren't expecting this to come up so quickly in West Virginia, a lot of them thought, well, I know it'll come up against next week in the Senate, so I'll plan to go down for the Senate. It cost me $100 to get to the Capitol and back on Friday. Add fuel alone, $100. So I understood that they didn't want to make the trip to, for the House vote. So they were sad to have missed it, but so happy that everything was, one and done on that Friday, that it got through everything, and everyone is celebrating to be state 18. We would have been fun to be number 17, fun to be number 16, but hey, I consider it first of the second half. So we'll take it. It's good.
That's a great way to look at it. First of the second half. And what tremendous leadership you brought to the table, keeping your team unified, rallying them, keeping them all on the same track to achieve this admirable goal. It's really quite outstanding. I got one last question for both of you. Again, like I said earlier, and like you just alluded to, we've got 18 states. We're in the second half now. We're more than halfway. That means we got 16 states to go. And you talked about other states, Tracy, having struggles just like your state had. What lessons can other states learn from West Virginia?
You know what? Because our issues in every state are different. They are different. But the first and the highest thing I would recommend is pray, because I wouldn't have stayed in it through the last 2 months. It wasn't easy. I've been in it for 2 years, but no, there was a lot of issue, and but I prayed, and I had peace and a confidence, and that peace alone caused me to trust, direction this way or that way. So pray first, and then know which way you're supposed to step, and then our peace will lead us. The Lord will tell us what steps to take, and that's how I stayed in it. That was the encouragement I used for the team when it got hard and cold. So pray first, and then discuss. Keep the lines of communication open with those, because we do have counsel nationally. I mean, within COS and your own team communication.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Communicate with God, communicate with your team. Great advice. All right, Jay, what advice do you have for other states who are struggling, and what lessons can other states learn from West Virginia?
Well, one of probably the biggest things to remember is that this is a whole a team approach, and not only keeping your grassroots team, but your legislators. These are the lowest, the people that are the closest to the laws and that set up so that we can have contact with them. So definitely get to know your legislator and work with them. Find out because hopefully this isn't the only legislation they're taking up. There's a lot of things going on down there, and there's lots of the stuff. I mean, there's good, this is a good patriotic movement here with Convention of States. So there's other issues that you might be able to help and work with, and just getting to know your legislator and your senators, and just seeing. I mean, I hate to make it sound like, but be their friend. They need encouragement, they need help, and it's I kind of feel weird saying it, but politics is a team sport. And it takes a whole team to get through, because hey, guess what? It's not just it's not just one person signing this stuff. It's the whole team. We needed 51 votes in the House, and you need the 19 votes or whatever it is in your state to get through the Senate. So please, just remember, it's a team, and the team wants to hear from you and work with you, and they need you.
Excellent pieces of advice from both of you. It was an absolute pleasure to be joined by both of you today. Congratulations again, and thank you for your hard work and your perseverance. And we just look forward to what else West Virginia has in store. God bless you both. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome. All right, we have our Article 5 trivia giveaway answer with COS Vice President Mike Ruthenberg. Mike, over to you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed hearing the stories of West Virginia. I hope you enjoyed hearing what went on with all of the amazing effort that went into passing our 18th state, West Virginia, this past Friday. And if you recall, I am the one that came with a trivia question. I'm going to say it real quick, and then I'm going to give you the answer. And again, if you didn't win, just go to shopconventionestates.com. You can get this rally tee. It's a super popular shirt of ours. It's also the lowest price shirt we have. We're so excited to bring it to you guys. So hopefully you'll have one or you'll get one. This week is a big anniversary week for Convention of States. Of course, not counting West Virginia, we have three states celebrating the anniversary of their passage of the COS resolution on March 5th, March 6th, and March 12th. So what was the first state of 2014, the first state of 2017, the second state of 2019 to pass Convention of States, all in March? Again, it was the first state, the 9th state, 14th state. And our answer is Georgia, our first state to pass March 6, 2014. Arizona passed March 12, 2017. And Utah passed March 6, 2019. And if you go to conventionofstates.com/progress, this is an important page to bookmark if you want to know exactly what's going on. People say, well, who's passed? What's going on? Where are we at? Who's passed one chamber? And you want to know so you can not only win this trivia, but you can win in the battle of the marketplace and help people to understand why Convention of States is so important now as we approach 20 past states. And the other thing I want to share with you is Mark Meckler, my best friend, I've known him for over 40 years, is going to be celebrating on Thursday his 60th birthday. Don't tell anybody I told you that, but it's true. And what an incredible guy. And let's continue to pray for him. Let's continue to pray for Convention of States. And thanks for having me on. Back to you.
Thanks, Mike. We do this show every week because, like you, we love America. What we don't love is what's happening in the swamp of DC. We don't love what the swamp monsters are doing to our country. Runaway debt. We're seeing restrictions of liberty. We're seeing career politicians. All of these things are not conducive to the American way, the American dream that the founding fathers gave us. It seems right now that we need a plan, though. We can't just throw good politicians at this and hope that we will fix the problem. Our founding fathers knew that we might be in this situation, and they already gave us a plan. They gave us a fail-safe within Article 5 that allows the states to get together to call a convention for proposing amendments that would limit any tyranny that was coming out of the federal government. So we are organizing where the people stand a chance. We are organizing where the people have an advantage, and that's within the states. And this is what the founding fathers wanted. They wanted power to be dispersed among the several states. They didn't want it centralized in Washington. They didn't want it centralized with bureaucrats or some swamp. They wanted it with we, the people. So we are using the gift that the founding fathers gave us. The founding fathers gave we, the people, and that is to call an Article 5 Convention of States to limit the size, scope, and jurisdiction of the federal government. And we want term limits for elected officials in Congress, and we want some common sense amendments for restraining the spending that we are seeing in Washington. And of course, we want to put the jurisdiction of the federal government back where the founding fathers intended it to be. So this is a solution as big as the problem, but we need volunteers in this movement. So go sign and share the petition. And after that, go to www.conventionofstates.com. Go to our Take Action page. Get involved in this fight for liberty. We can use any skill that you already possess. Just go to the different volunteer positions that we have, sign up, and get involved. After doing that, make sure that you go to our various social media platforms. You need to be liking and sharing that content so that we can get the message out about this secret weapon. And we are on MeWe, Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, Parler, Instagram, Getter, and TikTok. Wherever you're getting your social media buzz, you can find Convention of States. Make sure that you like the page, share the content. This is how we're going to get more people involved in this movement. You can also listen to this program and other historic legacy content from our Convention of States podcast. Just search Convention of States wherever you podcast from. If you'd like to get important COS messages, but you want to bypass big tech, you can text START to 54555. Again, that's START to 54555. Check out the battle cry with COS President Mark Meckler. It's on every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see you next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time for another edition of COS Live. Remember, politics is not a spectator sport. If you really want to win back our nation, you need to get in the fight for liberty. We need you in this fight. Your country needs you in this fight. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.